Welcome everyone to another startup and automobile documentation. What we have here is a 2020 Cadillac XT4 Premium Luxury. This XT4 is painted in crystal white tri-coat. Smart key access for all four doors. On the key fob, you have the buttons for lock, unlock, remote start, power tailgate release, and panic. Front door panels have storage. It does have a premium Bose sound system. This button you can power open or close the power tailgate and adjust how far it opens. Of course, power windows, locks, and mirrors. You also have power folding mirrors. And you have two-person memory settings for the driver's seat. This one has a jet black interior with leather seat upholstery. Both front seats are fully powered with two-way power lumbar support. But now that we're behind the wheel, let's go ahead and start the engine, and along with Smart Key, it does have push-button start. In the late 2010s, Cadillac came up with a new naming strategy for most of its lineup. The names consisted of three characters, with sedans starting with CT and crossovers starting with XT. The following number would then indicate where the model sits in Cadillac's lineup. Enter the XT4, which serves as Cadillac's entry-level SUV and is likewise the smallest in the lineup, slotting below the XT5 and XT6. The XT4 made its debut for the 2019 model year and as of 2024 is still in its first generation. The model competes with other entry-level SUVs from luxury brands, so think Lincoln Corsair, Audi Q3, BMW X1, etc. The XT4 rides on GM's E2XX platform, and for 2024 it got a mid-cycle refresh. The US market 2020 model year Cadillac XT4 came in three trim levels: Luxury, Premium Luxury, and Sport. Just one engine was offered, that being a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 which makes 237 horsepower and is paired as standard to a 9-speed automatic transmission. Available drivetrains were either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, the latter of which being what this one has. Many safety features were available as you'd expect, but standard across the range is still auto emergency braking and forward collision alert. In the instrument cluster, we have two analog gauges, which are your tachometer and speedometer, with everything else being digital, including this information display, which can be gone through via these controls on the steering wheel. You have your main menus. Along the top, you have your info menu, so you have your trip computers, range, oil life, tire pressure, all that kind of vehicle info. Quite a lot of stuff. And you have your audio info, navigation info, phone, then all sorts of system settings or vehicle settings. It has a 3-spoke design, leather-wrapped and multifunctional steering wheel. It does have sport grips. And as for controls, on this side you have your cruise controls along with your gap adjust for your forward collision alert, along with your voice command and Bluetooth controls. Then on this side, you'll find your audio controls, along with your information display controls. On the back of the spokes are paddle shifters to manually shift the transmission. And the steering wheel is tilt and telescopic. The parking brake is electronically operated, panel dim, climate vent for the driver, On this side is your exterior lighting stock. And on this side is your wiper stock. Going down the center of the interior, you have a speaker up top, your central climate vents, your whole touchscreen infotainment system. We'll go over the system more in a bit. Push button ignition. Right here, we have dual zone automatic climate controls. You can also control them via the infotainment screen, but here are the physical controls. You have on, off, auto, different zones, temperature for either side, fan speed, recirculation, sync, front and rear defrost, that kind of stuff. Pretty simple. You have your hazard switch. You can toggle your parking sensors and your lane keep assist. I believe this is a cover, but it's kind of stuck in place. But you have some storage just in front of the shifter, along with a 12-volt power outlet, an SD card slot, and a USB A and C port. 2 cup holders next to the shifter. It is electronically actuated. And putting it in reverse does reveal a backup camera with guidance lines. Now, right below the shifter, you have some physical controls for the infotainment system if you don't want to use the touchscreen. So you have some shortcuts for nav, radio, phone, and return, and you can use this knob to go through the system if you don't want to use, again, the touchscreen. As for these buttons, this one is for your traction control, this one is for your auto start-stop, and with this you can toggle between your different drive modes. You have Tour, all-wheel drive, Sport, and off-road. You have a center console with a removable tray, along with a 12-volt power outlet. The glove box is lockable. Both sun visors do have vanity mirrors with lights. Grab handles at all 4 corners. Frameless auto-dimming rear view. And on the overhead console, you have a sunglass holder, garage home link, LED overhead lighting, your passenger airbag indicator, OnStar, and you have power controls for your panoramic sunroof. And finally, here is that infotainment system in this 2020 XT4 Premium Luxury. So right here is your main home screen, and then here are all your main menus. So you have audio. Your sources are AM, FM, Sirius XM plus Bluetooth audio streaming, and you have a built-in Spotify app. Sound settings you can bring up. Phone, obviously for pairing a phone, whatnot. Navigation. Wi-Fi hotspots, different users. You have all sorts of settings. Have the system settings, and then apps. Have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility in this thing. Your backseat reminder. Here are your safety systems. So you have forward collision, braking, lane change alert, rear cross traffic alert, CarPlay, Android Auto. Now climate, you can control the climate from this screen. All the same controls. But that's a quick gist of this infotainment system. But now we'll roll down the driver's window and have a look at the engine bay. All 4 windows are automatic down, and the front 2 are automatic up as well. Standard on premium luxury models are these 18-inch pearl nickel finished 10-spoke alloy rims. Powering the XT4 is GM's LSY 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine. It has an aluminum block and head along with dual overhead camshafts, 4 valves per cylinder, direct injection, and active fuel management. Horsepower is rated at 237 at 5,000 RPM, and torque is rated at 258 pound-feet from 1,500 to 4,000 RPM. This engine is paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission with a manual shifting mode. Power in this XT4 is sent to all 4 wheels via the optional all-wheel drive system. Running on recommended premium unleaded with a 16.3-gallon fuel tank, EPA estimates are 22 mpg in the city and 29 mpg on the highway for all-wheel drive models. It has a McPherson strut front suspension and a multi-link rear suspension. Stopping it are, of course, 4-wheel disc brakes. Curb weight for this one is roughly 3,876 pounds. When properly equipped, the XT4 can also tow up to 3,500 pounds. Bottle holders in the back door panels. Rear seats do fold, of course. Both front seats do have map pockets on the backs. Coat hooks. Rear passengers do get their own set of climate vents, along with a USB A and C port, as well as a folding center armrest with 2 cup holders. As for space back here, I'm about 6'1" with the driver's seat in a pretty comfortable position for myself. I mean, this is the smallest crossover from Cadillac. Headroom, especially with this sunroof along here, my head is kind of hitting up against the roof. Legroom, as you can see, footroom's good, but my legs are kind of up against the seat. It's not uncomfortable by any stretch, but I'd say if you want something that's going to be considerably more spacious for backseat passengers, then you might want to look at an XT5. But, I mean, for being an entry-level crossover, especially for smaller people, I think this is a decently comfortable backseat. Dual exhausts, rear wiper, and it does have a power tailgate. The XT4 has a cargo volume of 22.5 cubic feet with the back seats up, and 48.9 cubic feet after folding the back seats down. And as you saw earlier, the fuel cap is on the passenger side. But anyhow, thanks for checking out this tour of this 2020 Cadillac XT4. And as always, stay on the lookout for future tours.